Hi, thanks for joining me again today for this example reading video. I've got a lady's hands that I've picked out two things that stand out. That is the double headline and her fingerprints. She has some whirls and she has some unusual whirls. So you'll be learning something a little bit different today. I hope you enjoy. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. That'd be awesome. Thank you. Here we are again, learning about the double lines, and today is the double headline. This example here, as I've drawn in the red, is exactly what the headline looks like. So it's actually a really big fork, but the heavily forked headline generally has the same meaning as a double headline. And here is the hand up a little bit closer. As you can see that it is joined to the lifeline and the second headline. They're all joined together. So there's joining of head, life all together. And it's got a slight kink upwards and it goes down. Whenever there's a kink in a headline, it shows somebody who might change their thinking, and one minute they might be thinking on a certain level and then the next minute they're thinking on another level. And this is even more so when there is two lines. So because it forks, it is kind of like splitting the personality. So the double headline depicts two facets of the personality. It can also show that someone who's very multi-talented, they have talent in two completely different subjects. Like another lady friend of mine who is a ambulance officer and administrator and things very businesslike, and yet on the other side she's a musician and she plays guitar and sings and everything like that. So her double headlines depict her duality in her personality. In this hand, we have a woman who she can see two things, like two ways of looking at things, creatively or in a business-like manner. So what's really good is that she has told me that she has got a career in like a business type place, and that would be representing the top line. The business-like side of her is shown by the relatively straight higher headline, but she has a creative side where she has, at a point in her life, she decided to go more into doing what she likes, like what she feels is right for her. So she decided to get into more creative hobbies, and that is shown by the second part of the headline, which dips down to the Mount of Moon. And whenever a headline does that, it taps into like creative aspect of the personality. On the downside, it can relate to the moodiness or maybe like a depressive thoughts. But in this case, I don't think that's the case. But the main thing that the double headline shows is that the mind can think in two ways. It can also mean that the person changes their mind a lot. So 1 minute, like I said, with the kink in the little kink in the headline and the fact that there's two of them, they literally can change their mind. So 1 minute they're thinking they're on one plane, and the next minute they're on another level altogether. So it may make it difficult for them to make life or big decisions. And if they do, they might not be sure if they've done the right thing. And that is what is so interesting, is the fact that she has matching fingerprints to that kind of personality. And we're going to talk about those right now. And that is the whirl and composite whirl fingerprints, as my clever design there. So here's both of her hands, and she has on the left hand, she has a composite double whirl. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. A smaller composite double whirl on the index, and the rest are plain loop prints. We won't be talking much about the loop prints today because they are actually the most common shape loop print, and they don't have that much significance. It does show a very open-minded and easygoing personality when there is loops. So she has loops on her left hand, and on her right hand she also has 2 loops, but she has the spiral whirl on her ring finger, index finger, and a composite double whirl again on the thumb. And it's those thumb ones that are the most interesting. But let me bring up some information about these whirls. So the whirl, there's a couple of different types, and this one's called a concentric whirl, where it's concentrated like a bullseye. And you always tell if it is going to be a whirl because there will be these tri-radius. I'll try and point to this tri-radii down here. Is it called a tri-radii, tri-radius? It forms like a triangle where the skin ridges change. So with a whirl, there is always 2 of those, one on either side. If it doesn't have one on the other side, it may be a something else, maybe like a loop, double loop, something like that. But we won't talk about loops today. Right, so the whirl fingerprints in general show someone who's he's an individual. They're very different. They're focused, determined, responsible. These people prefer to be in charge, especially if you have more than one of them. They can appear a little bit selfish, but they do have a desire to help others. So they might go from wanting to be selfish more during one phase of their life and then slowly turning to wanting to help others. And I've found that to be a very common trait. So that's the concentric whirl, and we're going to go to the spiral whirl, which you can see it's got the tri-radii down, it's got the tri-radius on either side, and the spiral, it spirals instead of having the bullseye. So the spiral whirl has very similar meanings, except it loosens it up a bit. The person is a little bit more open-minded. They're not as selfish as the concentrated whirl, so it's just slightly more easygoing, basically. So that is the spiral whirl, which is sometimes also called the plain whirl. Now here is the interesting one, is called the composite whirl or double whirl. Now you can see how there's the tri-radius on either side, but you can see that it forms a circle in one way and then it forms a circle in the other way, so that it's like a yin and yang, and almost on some angles it looks that it makes like the letter S when you look at it. So that is the difference. And these kind of prints, I've found that when they're on people, it helps the person to view the problems from many sides. So they look at problems from all viewpoints. They can be very adaptable. They actually find it difficult to say no to people. Even if inside they're thinking, oh, I don't really want to do that, they'll say yes because they think that's the right thing to do. So they actually struggle saying no. In other words, yes, they agree to things even if they're doubtful. Sometimes if they can see all the sides of the situation, then they will be able to quickly make a decision. They are easily distracted, and they're never really 100% sure in their decision. And so I always recommend, if you have these composite double whorls, that you basically consider, if you are 60% sure, then that's enough to make a decision, because otherwise you'd just be stuck there thinking about it all the time. So yes, that is especially true in this lady's hand, because she has one on each thumb. So I've got another clip. I've just got the same picture, but that's okay. She has those composite double whorls on each thumb. So what does that mean? It means that overall, in her personality, she's going to be always changing her mind. She might never be 100% sure of her decisions. And like I said, if she can just not try and be 100% certain of anything, and then that will help her along in her big decision making, so that she doesn't have to be 100% sure. Because the other prints here, the spiral whirl on her ring finger on the right hand, that shows that she's charismatic, she's creative, and that she does have that like flair, or she knows what's nice. She has a good taste. That's what I'm trying to say. And she has the whirl on the index finger, and that talks about her leadership skills. She has good leadership skills. The little bit of a composite whirl is a bit smaller, but it's a tiny composite whirl on her left index that also shows that she can find her passion in life and go after it, if she can decide what that is that she wants to do. So there you go. I hope you've learned something a little bit today, and I look forward to doing more of these example videos for you soon. See ya.